For decades, Games Workshop have ruled over the grimdark wargaming world. But has 40k lost some of these grimdark credentials through the need to make stupid old money? But do not fear, disenfranchised grimdark wargame enjoyer, because there's a new game on the market that aims to fill all your grimdark holes and take all your hard-earned geek bucks, and that game is called
Trench Crusade.
Trench Crusade.
Trench Crusade.
You what, mate?
Trench Crusade is an alternative history game where all your most annoying friends' historical conspiracy theories turn out to be true, and that the Knights Templar ended up opening a gateway to hell and ushering in a bunch of demons, making a holy war on Earth. The game takes place in this alternative histories version of the First World War, and visually it makes for a grimdark supergroup by combining medieval armour and imagery with the sallow squalor of the Great War. But look at me acting like you don't already know what Trench Crusade is. By now you've probably already seen the banging models and have your eyes on a few sets for your own grubby projects. So let's cut right to the chase, shall we? In this video I'm going to be making my own models for Trench Crusade. And that is no mean feat. Trench Crusade have set the bar higher than a scaffolder's bull bag, and they've done an excellent job of creating a unique, sombre, bleak feel across their entire range. At first I had concerns that this double grimdark of the Crusader era combined with the World War I thing would be too much, in a kind of double denim scenario where everything became less than the sum of its parts. But they've pulled it off really well, and it's going to be tough to make a model that stands up against the rest of this range. But let's give it a try anyway, and the best place to start is by looking at the game's models and trying to understand the design philosophy. It obviously pulls a lot of influence from things we recognise as artefacts of warfare, but it also references old works of art, literature and folktale, and at times even drops into the esoteric bowels of mysticism. And what better way is there to demonstrate some of this mystical symbology I've been talking about than through the ancient art of tarot? Come on, let's pull some cards, shall we, and I'll talk you through their meaning. Oh, and look at that. Our first one is a funny little fella called the Twat. And you know, you might think that that's bad, the twat or whatever, but the tarot is really about stories, so let's pull another couple of cards, shall we, and see where this story's going. Oh, and look at that, our second card is actually from the Minor Arcanum, and it's the Zero of Fucks, and that's obviously represented by Garfield smoking a joint and rubbing his belly to show how few fucks are given. And this can quite often represent how few fucks are given by people when you're trying to talk to them about things like mysticism and tarot and stuff like that. So let's pull our all-important last card, and it's the tiny penis man, or the unhung man, and you know, tarot. After checking out all the models, I decided I either wanted to have a go at either an artillery witch or the sorcerer of the seven serpents. These are both really fun, interesting models, and I really wanted to try my hand at making one, if not both of these. So I fired up ZBrush and just started making a head and a face, you know, because you've got to start somewhere, don't you? I still didn't really know if this was going to be an artillery witch's head or a sorcerer's head, but it was a beginning of something. I'd noticed that a lot of the Trench Crusade miniatures kept these quite muted, dour poses. This is so prevalent through the Trench Crusade range that I feel like it must have been a conscious design choice, maybe to make it feel more sombre and grounded. Either way, I knew I couldn't have my guy leaping about like some drunk Morris dancer, but I did want the model to have some kind of movement to it. I had in my mind to give the model a kind of a twisting effect, like it was casting a spell so powerful it was bending reality around it. I thought this would give it some sweet, sweet dynamism without venturing too far into the drunken gymnastics realm. So armed only with my twist idea, a head I probably wasn't going to use, and a very tepid grasp of the law, I decided to jump straight in and have a go at the sorcerer model. One of the first things you notice about the sorcerer model is its similarities to the Sabbatic goat, or Baphomet. But I wanted to go more war horror with my miniature. I wanted to try to reconjure the same feeling I got as a kid watching that zombie pilot part of the old heavy metal animated movie. So I started making a spooky gas mask with a lot of pipes to help shield our boy from the many fart smells of both hell and the trenches. I really like the strange proportions of the demons in the Trench Crusade artwork, particularly their long arms and spooky fingers. They kind of remind me of those moving sculptures by that guy
Theo Jansen.
So I knew I had to have some weird spindly arms for my model. But what will these many weird spindly arms be doing, you ask? Well, I wanted to make reference back to the Trench Crusade sorcerer who had his guts on display, but where his ended in a little snake willy, mine would tell me the future. That's because I wanted my sorcerer to be practicing haruspicy, the ancient Roman fortune-telling art of looking through the entrails of sacrificed bulls and goats. But what would be even more metal would be looking through your own guts for clues of the future. I had hoped to demonstrate this lost fortune-telling technique for you. Unfortunately, all I could find was this cat, and when I bit into it, it was just full of regular old delicious cat stuff, not a message in sight. So I added some guts and a bomb in a misguided effort to combine the artillery witch and the sorcerer, which was an idea that was quickly abandoned. I also added a halo which I planned to cover in bullets in a kind of mockery of sainthood, as well as the left hand raised like the Trench Crusade sorcerer. Now it might seem like small potatoes to get hung up on something like which hand is raised, but it's an important part of religious art. The right hand raised signifies that the person has chosen a religious path, chosen to be the right hand of God. Then there are those that choose the left-hand path of spirituality. Freed from Christian morality, they seek to become living gods themselves, though quite often end up sad and alone. So I don't know why the Trench Crusade sorcerer has his left hand raised. It might be as simple as somewhere down the line the artwork and the model got flipped around. I opened up another cat for more clues, but all I found in this one was a note that says no one gives a fuck, so I just decided to leave it. So at this point I had something that looked like this, and although I was initially pretty happy with it, after some test prints I felt there was some more I could do to it to make it a bit more fun to paint, because at the moment it was a little tedious. So I made some arm armour and a cool snake staff, as well as flipping it all so the right hand was up, because that was really bugging me. And then I had something that looked like this, and it was feeling pretty happy with it for the time being. So I wanted to make a start on my artillery witch model. In Trench Crusade lore, these guys summon forth artillery directly from Hell's factories and luzz it at the enemies like some kind of living tank. The Trench Crusade model is already an instant classic and is decked out in the embroidered mourning dress of a 17th century European woman. But I wanted to make something less human. I wanted them to be all twisty and gnarly limbs like the silhouettes of crooked trees in misty woodlands. So I gave the witch this long pointy hat. This sort of started as an accident, but in the end I loved the kind of otherworldly oddness that it gave the model. I'd also thought about giving the model this heart that it could be stabbing in order to be performing some kind of ritual that would actually summon forth the bomb for them to luzz at the enemy. For that matter, what does summoning a missile from hell actually look like, you know? I mean, the lore just says that they open up a portal between hell and earth, but that's easy for them to say. How am I supposed to represent that on the miniature?
We got him.
Twisty smoke was my solution. Like I said at the start of the video, I wanted a strong, twisty, spellcasting vibe. I already had some strong movement for the model and could use the smoke to kind of highlight that. So I started messing around with some different smoke compositions to see what worked the best. I was a bit concerned that the smoke made the pose a bit too outlandish. As we said before, the Trench Crusade lot are a dour bunch and this smoky showman might be out of place, but I liked it so it stayed. After I got the bomb looking good, I added some hands with eyes in. I did this really for practical reasons, because I suppose that an artillery witch would need good visuals if it's going to chuck bombs at stuff. At this stage, my two models look like this, and when displayed together we can see I managed to slip in the symbology from the original Baphomet influence. Right hand up, left hand down thing, the snake and the guts, and although my witch had strayed pretty far from the Trench Crusade design, it did still keep a little neck ruff, because neck ruffs are dope. I was feeling pretty good about where things were going at this point, so I decided to do a bit more research into the lore of the models. And I know there are a lot of people out there that would go like, oh, the best thing to do is get all the information before you start, learn all the lore, but those people are fucking cowards. If you ask me, the best thing to do is just make a model and then try to make it fit with the lore really late on into the process. But despite finding out the very basic fact that the sorcerer and the artillery witch aren't even in the same warband, so you can't even play them together, I did decide to try to add a bit of actual lore stuff. I read that the sorcerers get their powers by collecting these stone tablets from mountains in hell, and although the official model chose to carry theirs like they were accepting it as a prize, I felt my sorcerer could have his one on Bluetooth mode and strapped to his executive carry case belt. I also beefed up the snake he was holding quite significantly because I felt like the staff was a little underdeveloped. I can understand why some people might prefer the staff idea, so I will include an STL for the old one in the kit. I also made an alternative smoke option for the witch, so now it can just have some spooky skull smoke. This made it a bit more generic in case someone wants to use it for a different game. I also brought back the heart stabbing thing, because I figured, hey, it's cooler than not having a heart getting stabbed, right? Also, it allowed a nice little pop of colour when painting, which will be nice and cheery. So let's see how we did, shall we? We've got our spooky sorcerer with their snake and artillery witch with their bomb, or you can go snake staff and spooky skull smoke. Choice is yours. That's the great thing about Trench Crusade at the moment. It's a game in its infancy and it's still full of so much creativity and hope for the future. So there really has never been a better time to get involved if it's something you're interested in. So check out the models on Cults 3D, like, comment, subscribe the video, and why not have a look at our podcast, Large Blast Podcast. It's better than whatever Warhammer podcast you're listening to right now, I guarantee it. Anyway, thanks very much for joining us. I've been Stoney. I'll see you next time.